Mount Rainier, a giant. Towering at 14,411 feet, it dominates the skyline, a majestic sentinel of the Pacific Northwest. A sleeping volcano, cloaked in snow and ice. It's a beautiful beast. Alluring and deadly, it draws climbers in. Its slopes are a siren call to adventurers, promising both glory and peril. They come to test themselves, to conquer, to stand atop its peak and feel the world at their feet. Each step a testament to their endurance and willpower. Ericlewis was one of them. He loved the mountains. He was experienced, capable. A seasoned climber with a deep respect for nature's raw power. He had climbed Rainier before. He knew the risks. He respected the mountain. Every ascent was a dance with danger, a delicate balance between ambition and caution. But the mountain plays by its own rules. Its weather can change in an instant, turning a clear day into a blinding storm. The mountain is unpredictable, a force of nature that demands respect. Eric was planning a summit attempt. He meticulously prepared, checking his gear, studying the route, and ensuring every detail was accounted for. He was climbing the Gibraltar Ledges route, a path known for its difficulty, requiring both skill and determination. It was not for the faint-hearted. It was a challenging climb, but Eric was confident. His experience and preparation gave him the edge. He knew he could do it. He was with two companions, Don Storm and Trevor Lane. They were experienced too, seasoned climbers who had faced Rainier's challenges before. They knew the mountain well, its paths, its pitfalls. They had trained for this, prepared for every eventuality. They set off on July 1st, 2010. The weather was good, the air was crisp. Spirits were high as they began their ascent. It seemed like a perfect day for climbing. The sky was clear, the sun bright. It was as if the mountain itself was welcoming them, inviting them to conquer its heights. The three climbers made good progress. They were in high spirits, they were roped together for safety. The route was steep, the air was thin, but they were strong. They were determined. They reached the upper mountain. The views were breathtaking. They could see for miles. But the weather was changing. Clouds were gathering. The wind was picking up. The snow started to fall. It was getting harder to see. The wind was howling. It was getting colder. They decided to stop. They needed to reassess. They found a sheltered spot. They huddled together. They waited for the storm to pass. But the storm didn't pass. It got worse. The storm raged for hours. The climbers were getting cold. They were running low on supplies. They needed to make a decision. Wait it out? Or try to descend in the storm? They decided to descend. It was a risky move, but they didn't have much choice. They started down. The wind was ferocious. The snow was blinding. It was difficult to keep their balance. They were roped together. But the rope wasn't enough. The wind tore them apart. Eric lost his footing. He tumbled down the slope. Don and Trevor watched in horror. They couldn't reach him. They couldn't see him. He was gone. Don and Trevor were devastated. They were also in danger. They needed to get to safety. They managed to descend. They raised the alarm. A search and rescue operation was launched. The Rangers were alerted. They knew Eric was missing. They knew the conditions were bad. They knew time was of the essence. A helicopter was dispatched. It battled the storm. It searched the mountain. It searched for any sign of Eric, but the helicopter couldn't see anything. The storm was too intense. The visibility was too poor. The helicopter had to turn back. The ground search would have to wait. Scouring the slopes. The storm finally subsided. The next day dawned clear and cold. The ground search began. Teams of rangers set out. They were experienced mountaineers. They knew the mountain well. They searched the area where Eric was last seen. They searched the slopes below. They searched for any sign of him. They used avalanche beacons. They used probes. They used dogs. They searched for hours, but they found nothing. The mountain was vast. The snow was deep. It was like looking for a needle in a haystack. The search continued for days, but there was no trace of Eric. Clues in the cold. The searchers did find something. They found Eric's backpack. It was a significant discovery, one that gave them a glimmer of hope amidst the harsh, unforgiving landscape. The backpack was partially buried in the snow, almost as if it had been hastily discarded or lost in a struggle against the elements. It was ripped and torn. The damage suggested it had been through a lot, possibly caught on branches or rocks, or maybe even attacked by wildlife. The sight of the battered backpack raised more questions than answers. It had been battered by the storm, but it was empty. There was no sign of Eric. The emptiness of the backpack was haunting, as if it held the secrets of what had happened, but refused to reveal them. The searchers were left to wonder where Eric could be and what had led to this point. They also found his shovel. It was a few hundred feet from the backpack. The distance between the items suggested a frantic attempt to survive, perhaps a desperate effort to dig a shelter or signal for help. It was sticking out of the snow. It was as if it had been dropped. The position of the shovel, half buried and abandoned, painted a picture of urgency and despair. It was a stark reminder of the harsh conditions Eric was facing. And then they found something else. They found a snow cave. The discovery of the snow cave was both a relief and a concern. It indicated that Eric had tried to take shelter. But it also meant he was in dire straits. It was small and crude. It was barely big enough for one person. The cave was hastily constructed, a testament to Eric's struggle against time and the elements. It was a makeshift refuge, offering minimal protection from the relentless cold. It looked like it had been dug in a hurry. The rough edges and uneven walls spoke of a desperate attempt to create a safe space. The searchers could almost feel Eric's urgency and fear as they examined the cave. Could Eric have dug it? Was he trying to shelter from the storm? The questions lingered in the air, heavy with the weight of uncertainty. The searchers hoped that the cave had provided Eric with some respite from the brutal weather. Had he managed to survive? The thought of Eric, huddled in the cave, fighting to stay warm, was both heartbreaking and inspiring. The searchers knew they had to keep looking, driven by the hope that Eric was still out there, waiting to be found. The discovery of the snow cave raised more questions than answers. Had Eric survived the fall? Had he managed to dig the cave? The cave itself was a marvel, a testament to human resilience and ingenuity. But it also held an eerie silence, as if it were guarding secrets of its own. The snow outside was undisturbed, pristine, almost as if no one had been there for ages. Had he succumbed to the elements, or had something else happened to him? The mystery deepened. The snowstorm that had raged on the night of his disappearance was one of the worst in recent memory. It was a force of nature that could easily disorient even the most experienced hiker. The relentless wind and snow could obscure any trace of a person, making it nearly impossible to find them. Theories began to circulate. Some people thought Eric had become disoriented in the storm. They imagined him struggling against the wind, his visibility reduced to mere inches. The snowstorm was a whiteout, a blinding fury that could make even familiar terrain seem alien and hostile. In such conditions, it was easy to lose one's bearings, to wander aimlessly in search of shelter. They thought he had wandered off and lost his way. Others thought he had succumbed to hypothermia. The cold was merciless, sapping strength and willpower. Hypothermia could set in quickly. dulling the senses and leading to poor decisions. In the grip of the cold, Eric might have felt an overwhelming urge to lie down, to rest, not realizing the danger he was in. They thought the cold had gotten to him. They thought he had simply lain down in the snow and died. The image of Eric lying lifeless in the snow was haunting. It was a tragic end that many feared. The snow and ice would have quickly covered him, erasing any signs of his presence. It was a chilling thought, one that left a heavy weight on the hearts of those who knew him. Still others thought he had chosen to disappear. They thought he had gone off on his own. Perhaps the pressures of life had become too much, and he had decided to start anew. The vast, uncharted wilderness offered a chance for a fresh start, away from the constraints of society. It was a romantic notion, but also a deeply unsettling one. They thought he had started a new life. The idea of Eric setting up camp in some remote, snowy area, looking out at the horizon as if contemplating his future, was both hopeful and melancholic. It painted a picture of a man seeking solace and meaning in the vast, unforgiving landscape. But whether he found what he was looking for, or if he even survived, remained a mystery. The search for Ericlewis was eventually called off. The mountain had claimed another victim. The mystery of his disappearance remained. The mountain wasn't talking. It held its secrets close. Eric's family and friends were left to grieve. They were left to wonder what had happened to him. They would probably never know. The mountain had spoken. It had taken Eric. It had swallowed him whole. It had erased him from the face of the earth. He was gone. Vanished. Lost forever. The disappearance of Ericlewis is a reminder of the power of nature. It's a reminder that even the most experienced climbers are not immune to the dangers of the mountains. It's a reminder that the mountains can be unforgiving. They can be cruel. They can be deadly. But it's also a reminder of the allure of the mountains. It's a reminder of the challenge they pose. It's a reminder of the beauty they hold. And it's a reminder of the mystery they can sometimes conceal. The mountain keeps its secrets. It guards them jealously, it whispers them on the wind, but it never reveals them. Ericlewis disappeared. He vanished without a trace. He became another story. A story whispered in hushed tones. A story of adventure and tragedy. A story of the mountain's enduring mystery. The mountain stands tall. It stands silent. It stands watch. It knows what happened to Ericlewis, but it's not telling. Thank you for watching. If you like exploring the world's most mysterious disappearances, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell for more missing stories like this. Stay curious, and I'll see you next time.